Наш следующий спикер, пан Przemysław Simon Stanish. Welcome to Ukraine.
Thank you. Sorry, I didn't understand anything. I don't speak Russian, even though I'm Polish and I should. But hopefully I'll learn that Russian and Ukrainian in the next 10, 15, 20 years. So. Thanks for coming. Do I have a presentation? Okay. We're here to talk about sales. And I want to talk in a different approach because I know some people already been to my presentation, and a lot of times I go into details about how to talk with clients, how to negotiate, how to prepare a LinkedIn message or an email. Today I wanted to talk more about general approach, how to plan your whole strategy. So then you can put all those little parts, even like Manuel mentioned, how to build your social media channel, how to prepare for approaching. Before I go into this, I want to set up some rules. Are there any people that have been to my presentation before? Okay, okay, cool. So I can use the same jokes. Is that okay, Yuri? Yeah? Okay. Well, basically, even though this is a presentation, I really like discussions. So if you have questions, even hard questions, it's okay. Just raise your hand, you can stop me and say, hey Simon, I want to ask about this or this or this. Let's do that, even though we're going to have time in the end for questions. But a lot of times, you just want to ask right away, right, to give that more clear. So you can do that. Also, if you want to add like a nice anecdote or a joke, you can still stop me and say the joke, but it has to be a good joke. If it's bad, you have to leave, okay? So also, if you see me leaving, that means you didn't laugh, so pay attention to my jokes. Because if I go, someone has to take over the presentation. All right? Tell me, how many people here work directly in sales? Salespeople? More? So what do the other guys do? Are you founders or marketing? Okay, okay. Who likes sales over here? A few of you? Who is super happy with their sales and they don't want to change anything and they're like, I'm good? No one? Right? Sales is challenging, right? You don't ever meet people saying, yes, my sales is so perfect. Yeah, I don't have to do anything, right? There's always something you want to change. But when I speak with different salespeople or CEOs, I see similar challenges. And tell me if it kind of connects with you. Even actually Manuel was telling points from my presentation, so thanks for that. But sometimes do you talk with people and they say, I don't want to use cold channels because I feel like a spammer. I don't like to force people into buying, right? Because you probably received a lot of emails from India saying, we're the best in iOS, use our developers, right? So you don't want to do that. And you don't want to do this for your potential clients. But then what to do, right? How to approach people. Then you might have another situation. Let's say you're a CEO or a sales director and you have a team. And this team is working on cold channels, hot channels, doesn't matter, but they burn out. They're like, I hate this job. I don't want to do this anymore. And they quit. Or they go to a different product, different company. And your problem is that you need to find new people, train them, and push them in the same channels, right? And it hurts, right? Or maybe another situation where even they don't burn out, they still work, but they don't get results. And they don't get results on cold channels. And on the other hand, you don't have a huge marketing budget to get a lot of leads to start selling more, right? You probably have this in marketing. So what to do to make this work and don't spend all your money and all your time? A lot of people, they tell me what I can do is just wait, because maybe something organically will change, or maybe this perfect client is gonna come. So we actually have this joke with some of our clients that they should change their position from CEO or CTO to CWO, Chief Waiting Officer. Right? That was funny. So we don't want to wait. What we want to do is we want to take control over the sales and start working more actively and start working a little bit more smart. So how do I know about sales? And my friend Edward, gave a little intro. I heard a little bit, or understood a little bit over there, but he probably mentioned that I've been working in sales over 15 years right now. And I've been working, with everything from little one-person startups to huge corporations, helping their sales teams growing and scaling. But one thing that is really interesting about my experience is actually not even working with those big dogs and having big campaigns. It was me working in the States, and don't worry, that's not me on the picture. That's our partner from our office in Bratislava. But me, Eric, my other partner Olivia, we used to do sales in the States, door to door. So we always laughed that we were the human version of email spam. But imagine this, we were actually selling these educational books, so it was something to help kids go to college and work on homework. But we used to come to people's houses cold. So we didn't send them emails, cards, we didn't call them. I just come to someone's house and I knock on the door. That's it. And when they opened the door, I had about 20 minutes to build enough trust with my Polish accent, really thick at that time, and my Polish content. So they trust me to invite me inside the house, right? Quite challenging. But then, when I'm inside the house, I had about 15 minutes to sell these books. And as you can imagine, they didn't cost $2, $3. Just this set was $600. Everything was $2,000. So it wasn't like an easy sale. And the cherry on the top was that I didn't have these books with me. So when I sold, I took the order, people had to give me half of the money down, and they just met me 10 minutes ago. And they had to wait up to 3 months to get the books. Talking about trust, right? And I had to do this, the same process, 30 times every day, 30 presentations a day. So sometimes I had to work 14 hours to get my KPIs. But it's funny because right now when I talk with different salespeople or I coach sales teams, they say, it's really hard to get 3 Skype calls. I'm like, really? Let me tell you a story. Right? But what it did, actually I was working there for 5 years. Eric, who's in the back here, he was working there 9 years, and Olivia was doing 10 years with this company. And basically this company is the oldest selling company in US. They're 170 years on the market. So we took all the knowledge and put it into the B2B European market. And what happened is, when I came back to Poland, I opened a little agency, marketing agency. But the funny thing is that we approached the market more on the sales part. So basically, just to give you a quick story, in 2 years, from 2 people and 4 cameras, because we were a photo agency, we grew into a 25-person software house and a marketing agency, working with all the biggest brands in Poland, like the Polish Railway, or Capgemini, KLM Airlines. And people were like, what the fuck? How are you doing this? Right? Because are there marketing agencies in Poland or Europe? There's a lot of them, or software houses. But what we did, even though we didn't have any experience in marketing, we were selling to people not what they wanted, because do people know what they want? No, we were selling what they needed, and they were happy, so they were promoting us further and further and further. And then after some time, we saw that people don't even need marketing, they need more sales and closing. So that's why I'm here talking about this. So, but talking more about sales. So what do we want from sales? Do you have any goals? What do you want to achieve? Why do you do sales?
I like it.
You like it? So why do you do this? You only do this for fun? You're this is some type of addiction. So I heard clients, right? Clients, money, right? But is this everything that you really want? If someone gives you a client, are you happy? Client with money, right? So it all depends what really comes with this client, because don't you really want, in general, is a happy long-term relationship, especially in your industry? Who wants a client for a WordPress site that works for 2 weeks? No one, right? Everyone wants to build huge projects that last 5 years, right? But you cannot really sell this just like this over Skype or over LinkedIn. So it's a longer process. And there's also a huge challenge with sales guys. Did you ever had clients that weren't happy with what you did, even though your quality is really good? Few of you guys did, right? And why is this happening? Because there's 3 aspects. There's something that I want to sell. I want to have a client. I want to sell 5 developers in Ruby, right? Or in Java, doesn't matter. But then there's something that the client wants. He doesn't want developers. He wants a product. He wants a service, right? And then also is what I can really deliver. So if these 3 don't match, your client is not going to be happy, right? So sometimes you probably had situations when the sales guy was promising, yeah, we're going to do everything, you're going to be so happy, we're going to do like really deep machine learning, and it's only $6 an hour, right? And then you have to deliver, right? So what we need to do is have all this in order so we don't have those fuck-ups. So people are happy and they're working with us for really, really long time. And how to do this? Well, of course, like you hear really, really awesome tips and really awesome methods how to start selling, especially from experienced guys like even before from Dave or Manuel, how to use the channels that we have. But in general, yeah, that's me in high school. Thinking about this from another perspective. Let's say we're talking and I'm like, okay, I want to lose weight. So that kind of is like, I want to have perfect client. But I don't want to just lose weight. I want to have the 6-pack. And you can see that there's potential here, right? So if I'm deciding today, I want a 6-pack, that is, I want the perfect client, long-term relationship, is motivation everything that I need? Even though, let's say I bought the passage to the gym and I'm working out every day, am I going to have a 6-pack in 6 months? Probably not, right? Because motivation and action is not the only thing. There's actually a couple points that you have to do to get that right. You have to have a goal, you have to have diet plan, workout plan, metrics, optimization, and motivation. And then if you lose one of them, probably it won't work, right? So you have to know what's good. That's why a lot of people take private trainers, because maybe you're super motivated, but you don't know how to work out. You don't know how to eat. So the trainer has to tell you, oh, Simon, no, burgers? Not today, right? And then I have to change. And it's kind of the same in sales. So a lot of times we do have the tool. So we're like, okay, we're going to go on LinkedIn, we're going to go on Facebook, or we just bought a huge database of clients, potential clients, and what to do with them. That's why I divided this in more like science approach, how to look at this from a general perspective. So on one side, we had the persona. Do you know the definition of a persona? Are you probably familiar with that, right? So basically, this is the person that we're talking to, that we're communicating. And the challenge is that a lot of times, and actually Manuel mentioned this, a lot of times people just send an email to everyone. It's the same email to everyone. But if I'm talking to a CTO of a B-round startup in New York in the morning, and in the afternoon I'm talking with the marketing director or the CEO, are these the same conversations? No, they're totally different. And it's the same company, I have the same product. So we have to know how to talk with them. And that's why this is the process. So for each persona, we have to figure out a different process. And this could be channel of approaching them. Could be LinkedIn, could be going to trade shows, could be doing content marketing. But then also there's different ways of negotiating, of finding needs, and then also customer success. Because after, let's say, a year of work, the CEO may be differently happy than the marketing director or the CTO. So we have to know how to communicate that. And the tool for this is the salesperson. And it doesn't matter if you hire someone or if you're the CEO and you're working, you have to know how to manage this. So what I want to do is I want to go deeper, step by step into these parts, just to give you an approach how to craft each section of your sales to fit this, because maybe you already have awesome motivated salespeople, but they don't know the personas. Or maybe you have awesome personas and leads, but you don't have the process, you don't know how to approach them, right? So you can put all those information, all those methods that you learn over the weekend into one system that it starts working. So stage one, persona. What do we sell? What do we want to communicate? Now, quick question. If I give you 1,000 leads, let's say 1,000 CEOs from startups from US, is everyone going to buy from you? Does everyone need to buy from you? No, they probably won't. And again, I heard Manuel was talking about this. So you have to be aware that not everyone is going to buy from you, but you need to know who is willing to buy and why. So let's do this quick case study. If we have 100 contacts, it doesn't matter which market it is, we can divide these contacts into 3 categories. Let's call this group A. Usually is 5 to 10%, sometimes more, sometimes less. These people we call non-buyers. Why? Because they will never buy. No matter what you do, no matter how awesome your product is, how great developers you have, how really awesome and colorful presentation you have, they're not going to buy. Because maybe they don't work with companies from outside of US or Germany. They don't work with companies without these certificates. They don't work with companies that are smaller than 500 people. They don't work with companies with green logos, right? There's always something. But the thing that people do is they just spend a lot of time with these guys, because sometimes there are companies that have a lot of money. I have a lot of startups telling me, I have this great idea, I'm going to approach a bank because banks have a lot of money, so they're going to spend this on my startup idea. I'm like, yeah, good luck. Right? Because banks don't spend money on this type of thing. So what we want to do is qualify this as soon as possible, even in the first call, and get rid of them. Because we don't want to spend time, especially sometimes people spend half a year on free product, free projects, free pilots, and then they hear, yeah, sorry, we don't outsource, company policy. So we want to learn this as soon as possible. Then on the other side, there's more bright side. The group C, category C, these guys we call buyers. Why? Because they always buy. So now, no matter how shitty sometimes your product is, or how bad presentation you have, or how bad English you have, or how Polish front end you have, doesn't matter, they always buy. Why? Because they're actively searching for a solution and they're aware of their situation. And tell me this, probably most of the CEOs, definitely in your history, who had this situation when you came to the meeting, you didn't even open your laptop. After 10 minutes of the conversation, the guy's like, this is perfect, I'm buying. Right? And you're like, I didn't show you anything. Doesn't matter. Here's a briefcase of money, right? Anyone had this perfect client? Right? And what happens is these are the perfect guys. So what we want to do is find them the soonest and then work with them. But what happens is that there's still group B. And this is 80–90% of people that don't know if, well, they didn't tell you no, but they also didn't tell you yes. So what happens is that we need to qualify them as well and then learn, okay, do they need a little bit more information, maybe a little bit different perspective, or do they need more, I don't know, time to qualify something, to digest? Sometimes it's maybe they don't understand the process of outsourcing. They think it's super expensive. But if you really give them an insight that when they pay for recruitment, when they pay for training, and then they lose people, plus they have the time for that, they lose clients with PR and marketing money, they're actually paying twice much than they would do for the marketing, right? So sometimes it's just a smart way of educating them. So what happens here is that Group C, this is based on statistics. So no matter what you do, if you just see good enough number of people, they're going to buy, right? And that's why a lot of people still want to do mass mailing. They want to go and talk to people, and it's okay. It's really good. And the problem is that these guys, sometimes they're also approaching clients on their own. So they're going on Upwork, they're talking with your competitors. So already it's really hard to get them interested in your project. But If we want to have a little bit more of the group B, this is based on skill. Because you can of course go and approach someone and they will even talk to you. But you need to know what is holding them back from working with you. Is it maybe it's time, information, I don't know, trust? So you need to know, you need to learn that and then motivate them to change this. So I'm going to tell you a little bit more about this tomorrow in the workshop. So if you want to learn more how to qualify those guys, you can come over to the workshop. But one thing also that is really important here, if we look at clients, who heard this before, that people buy based on emotion, not on logic? Who believes this? Right? So no one comes to you and calls you and says, hey Yuri, I need 5026 lines of code for tomorrow. No one, right? Because what they want is they want trust, they want something good, quality, etc. So what happens is, actually there's a study for this. If we look at this graph, we have emotions here and time here. There's something called the buying line. So this is the size of the emotions, amount of emotions that people have in certain problem that motivates them to change. For example, I have my phone and I break my glass, right? My screen. If I only use my phone for calls, I don't have an emotional attachment to this. So you probably know people with broken phones that don't change this for a year because they don't have to play with this, touch it. So they don't have an emotional attachment. But if I only use my phone for sending emails, for browsing web, I'm gonna buy a new phone in an hour. So I'm super motivated. So what happens is that there's a graph that most of the people from group C, they're already above the buying line. So that's why they're actively searching. But group B is somewhere here. So sometimes we need to educate them. We need to give them good stories. So you probably heard about a storytelling approach. So we need to give them good ideas why they should consider, for example, working with us, and then give them a logical example how it works. But first we need to figure out the motivation. So again, I'm going to talk about that deeper tomorrow, how to qualify people, how to ask good questions so people tell you what's their pain. But we want to be aware of this. So sometimes if you see that there's no emotions, yeah, we don't want to do this. So that's why here the difference between inbound and outbound. Sometimes people say, if you give me a client, I'm going to close them. Of course, because you're used to having inbound clients. These are group C. They know what they want, they know they have a problem, and they're searching for a solution. That's why it was so easy for you to close it. If I give you a cold lead, usually there's a fight between marketing and sales department, like, yeah, you give me shitty leads. No, you don't know how to close. Well, sometimes both of the groups are right, because if I give you a lead, you have to know what type of a persona it is, what emotional drivers he has. Is he frustrated with lack of developers, or does he want to have pride of his great app and he wants to do it fast? Or maybe he has pressure from investors of developing the app, so that's his driver for buying. So we need to find this out and communicate this. And that's the difference here, so we need to be aware of how to communicate these aspects. Stage 2, the process. So this is how we're going to approach these individual guys. So we know right now the persona of a CEO, a CTO, marketing director. For each person, there's a different way. So imagine you're building software without framework. Is it possible? It's kind of possible. Is it smart? No. Right? So why don't people use frameworks for sales? A lot of people are just going randomly, like, yeah, we're selling. How? Oh, well, going here, going there. How are you measuring? We don't. Well, we have 5 contracts. Great. Which channels? How do you close them? They just came. Cool, Mr. CWO. So what we want to do is we want to have more control of this. And one thing to remember, the sales funnel is dead. Because a lot of people say, oh, we have 20 leads in the sales funnel and we're going to close them sooner or later. It doesn't end this way. If you even sign a contract, like we were talking in the beginning, we don't stop selling ever because people change their minds, people have different needs. So we need to know how to communicate this throughout the whole process. So here, this is a simple explanation of a potential process where it's a funnel changed into a cycle. So at each point, you come back to the client. Sometimes you, for example, talk with the client. So here, for example, this is using social media or email to go to a meeting. You qualify someone, but they say, not today, maybe in a half a year. In a half a year, you come back to them and you start from the same point. So you can put metrics around this, and this is more controllable and scalable. And quick example, how to, for example, qualify people. And I'm going to talk deeper about this tomorrow, but maybe you had this when you come to the client and you ask them, so what's your problem, Mr. Client? And they say, I have no problems. I'm the leader of the market, right? So it's just like coming up to a girl in the bar and saying, what's your life goal? Right? This is a really good question, right? So no one will answer this question right away. So what we do in real life, we go from general, logical, to specific. We ask, where are you from? Where did you study? Where do you work, right? And then we go deeper and deeper, and after 2 beers and a drink, we say, okay, so what's your life goal? Right? So we should do the same with the client. We should start from general questions, and this is a process of qualifying. So we start from like, where are your offices located? Is it here or there? Right? Okay, so how many developers do you have in this office, and this office? Really, so what type of tasks do they do? Oh, really, from all the tasks, what kind of challenges they have, or which challenges are the biggest? Oh, this and this and this. And then you jump into, oh, why is that? How does this influence your work? And this is the time when they give you the emotions. Really fast. Cool. Okay, 2 minutes. The third part, the salesperson. So now when we know the persona, now we have the process, we need to have the key part, the engine of the whole operation, because the process doesn't work on its own. There's a machine working the process. But the challenge is that we don't want to go to everyone and say everything. We need to be smart. So the persona, what they do is the salesperson needs to go and talk with the persona. And they need to find out, is this CEO, or let's say the CTO, is he a real CTO, or is he a mixed persona? Because you probably had situations when you were talking with the CTO, and he's like, yeah, I'm a CTO, but I'm also doing a little bit of marketing and a little bit of CEO, because I'm an angel investor. He's the CEO for the image, so I have to do his work. So you see that he has challenges from the CEO, from the CTO, and from the marketing guy. So you need to combine this, and what you need to do is take bits of the process and talk with him in this way. And this way, you use the process for this persona. It needs to be optimized at all the time. So the salesperson needs to know how to do this. And then how to motivate yourself with work. Well, I'm against working on result KPIs, because, oh, if you don't bring us $100,000, you're out. Of course, it's good to have these type of goals. But what I usually motivate people on is controllables. Because if I have a process, I know what is the conversion from step to step. So right now, for example, I know that if I have 100 leads, I'm going to have 15 meetings. From 15 meetings, I'll have 5-10 presentations. From these presentations, I'm going to have that many offers and one deal, and then I can put the size of the deal. But what I motivate people on first is the meetings. If they're good with meetings, then I tell them to go to the presentation, then to the offers, then to the next one. Make sense? Okay, so really fast, is it okay? 30 seconds. This is the end of my presentation, but usually I like to give out some bonuses. So a few bonuses for you. Who would like to get fresh, nice, hot leads? 3 people? Okay, so for you, we actually created a site. It's called marketingschool.tech. There's free videos on how to do marketing analysis, how to approach people, how to do sales through marketing channels. So you can watch this for free and later tell me how you like this. Next bonus, I have 3 for you today. Next, everyone has the picture? I can share this with you later on. Who would like even more leads and more hot connections? Well, what we did is in the last year and a half, we created this app where we analyzed the internet for different job offers. We filtered them by tech offers from specific companies, and then we divided them into categories by technology. So how it works, basically we put technology, city, and the last period of time, let's say 6 months, and it gives us, let's say, 500 companies that were planning to scale the team in that period. So what this helps with is basically a lot of people are telling me, well, it's great that you have this process, but I need to find people that are working in Ruby and they have a project, because sometimes I talk with someone and they're like, yeah, we just started working with one company, come in a year, or yeah, we don't work in Ruby. So this actually gives you information who is scaling. And last bonus, how to close these leads. Tomorrow there is a workshop, so I'm going to tell you more about how to, for example, approach people, how to qualify, how to negotiate. But also, if you want to talk and, for example, discuss things like leads, sales process, or sales outsourcing, because we'll be opening this. If, for example, you don't want to have a sales team, you want to say, Simon, I want you to sell for me or your team, we're going to do that. Add me to LinkedIn, and I'm going to have give everyone free 30-minute consultation on their sales process and tell them what they should do to scale this. All right? And way to add me to LinkedIn is just fine.
Okay,
Cool.
Simon,
Thank
thank
you.
you very much for your good speech.